You're listening to She's the Business podcast. Most of us have fears that hold us back from getting on camera and being our true selves and being really confident. So what is it that stops us from doing something that we know is going to help our business more than anything else? And how can we get over these fears so that we can find it easy to get on camera and show up for our audience? Well, today's episode is going to give you so many gold nuggets and insights into how we can step out from behind the curtain and show ourselves without any of these fears. So stay tuned. Hi, I'm your host, Jessica Osborne, and in my 23 years of business and marketing, I've built many brands to become multi-billion-dollar companies. And just in the last 10 years, I've built 2 online businesses of my own from my dining room table with 2 little babies running around at my feet. I've made it my mission to inspire you to get out of your own way and become the successful business owner who's living the lifestyle you really desire without all the hustle. This is She's the Business podcast, made by women for women. This is your weekly dose of motivation and inspiration. We could all do with more confidence when it comes to getting ourselves on camera, right? That's why I'm so excited to bring to you today an interview with Vasavi Kumar, who is a camera confidence coach, writer, and speaker. She also does some stand-up comedy, and she's a previous therapist and TV host. She helps thought leaders and experts to feel more confident on camera and clear in their creative process so they can stop hiding and start shining in their business. One of her quotes, which is absolutely my favorite, says, "When you know yourself, you will be, do, and create anything you want." So today she's going to share with us some tips of how we can really get to the core of what's holding us back from having confidence and getting out there on camera, putting ourselves and our business out there for our audience, for the people who really need us most. And she has got some absolute gold to share with us today. So without further ado, let me play this interview for you. Okay, and welcome. We're here today with Vasavi Kumar. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm really excited to get into this topic today around confidence and confidence on camera specifically, because I know that so many of us as women in business have a lot of hang-ups, really, when, I think we can just say it out loud. There's a lot of fear and hang-ups about getting on camera and really showing the real us to our audience. So would you like to tell us a bit more about what you do and who you serve?
Absolutely. Thank you, Jessica, for having me here today. My name is Vasavi. I'm a camera confidence coach. I used to be, in my former life, a therapist and a TV host. And I've blended my love of people, psychology, energetics, and being on television, being in front of the camera. I've combined all of it to really help the woman who is in business, who knows she needs to start promoting herself and getting on video more, really working with these women intimately to understand what's been holding them back from being their most self-expressed self, right? It's not about fixing who you are. It's about being more of you, because we are conditioned as women to be just enough that's okay for others. We don't want to be too much, because, that may intimidate or that may piss people off. And I'm like, be more of you, be more of that that very part of you that you've been holding back, be more, let's see more of that.
Yes.
And so, that's what I do. And that's who I serve.
That's amazing. And I think that's so true. And I can think back to, the times where I didn't hold back from being me and I wasn't trying to moderate who I was. And you're like, wow, just the energy, the connection, the amazing time that you had, just because you felt more free, you feel more like yourself. And when we're holding ourselves back with all of these worries about, I better not say this and I better not say that and I don't want to offend anyone and I've got to be this perfect soul. I think that we do just feel like we're not really ourselves, do we? And it's so incredibly hard, I think, now with just there's so much chatter out there, so many people telling us, well, we've got to be this, we've got to be that, and don't say this that way, and don't don't be anything, don't be who you are, because you might offend somebody. It's like, wow, we're living in this time where you can listen to all of that, and I think it could really hold us back so much, especially in business. And I can't wait to hear some of the stories that you've got for us around how we can step away from that and maybe turn off that voice that's inside our head, telling us all of these things that we think other people are thinking, when really we just want to connect with real humans, don't we? We're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. We are going to attract the people who like us for who we are. And isn't that what it's really all about anyway?
It is. And I think when we do not allow ourselves, not just in business, I don't want to ever just say just in business, because I do believe if you're holding back in your personal life, you're going to hold back in your business, right? Or let's just say you're maybe really out there in your business, but in your personal life, it doesn't have to be just one way, right? Like, so in my business, I learned for myself, I'm very outspoken and I'm very direct, but I still held back a little bit. In my personal life, specifically in my romantic partnerships, I noticed I was watered down, which is, you would be surprised looking at me and hearing me. And if you watch my videos, you would never think that in my romantic partnerships, I put up with the kind of shit that I put up with from the men that I dated, but I did. And that took a toll on my self-esteem and my confidence, which I didn't like. My business has always been my outlet where I am the most me. I am the most me. So my point in saying this to your listeners is that it doesn't have to necessarily look that way for you. Maybe in your business, you do feel confident, but you're not communicating confidently in your relationships, in your personal life. Or maybe in your personal life, you are extremely, you do feel very safe and secure, but something about promoting yourself on social media or doing a podcast interview like this or pitching yourself to the media, maybe that scares you, right? So it's just, there's always an opportunity. Everything we're feeling, everything we're triggered by, everything we're scared of is an opportunity, and it's information about who we are and where we're currently at, energetically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Like, where am I at right now? So I just want to invite your listeners to really look at, transforming the judgment around, oh, I'm so scared to get on camera, or I don't like my face on camera, whatever the thing that we say. Really take that information and use it as information. Take that information and use it as information. Like take that as information and get curious about, that's odd that I would say that about myself. Like, where did I learn that my face wasn't attractive? Where did I learn that I didn't speak clearly? Where did I learn that I, can't show this emotion? Where did I learn that from? It's just, we can unlearn the things that we've learned.
Yes.
Being inauthentic, we are not born liars. We are not born inauthentic, right? The adults in our life taught us to lie. They taught us what was acceptable and what wasn't in order for you to get validation, love, and approval. We were not born that way. So that is learned behavior, and that is behavior that can be unlearned through confidence building, skills, and actions.
That is so true. And I love that. It's that self-awareness. Why am I saying that? Why do I think that I'm not good on camera? Because all of these, we take them as real facts, right? We might, and I've certainly said it before, where I was like, I'm not photogenic. And to me, that was just a fact. There's no argument. I just know it. And, I've been through a bit of a journey as well. Like, is that really true? Why do I think that? Am I just being super, super critical because I don't look like some, supermodel that's in a magazine that's had everything,
airbrushed,
all the hair and airbrushed and, to look perfect, or whatever we think perfect is. And what is perfect, and I think once we start examining those thoughts that are just facts to us, like second nature, we can really start looking for evidence to the contrary. And really, what does it even matter? I think that was one of the biggest things that I told myself when I started in this business. And coming from marketing, when you're behind the scenes, you're not out there. You don't have your face out there. You're not the face of the company. I was behind the scenes doing all of the strategy. And to then come into my own business, I thought, well, I've got to be the face because people are buying me. They're buying my experience. They're buying my help and knowledge for their business. So they want to know me. Otherwise, they're not going to buy from me. They're not going to buy from just a brand, like a logo with no personality. Even if we think we're adding personality, it's nothing is like a real human. And it was just that, get over it. It's not about, they don't want me because I look like a model, and it doesn't matter that I don't. They want to work with me because they think I like this person, they're real, and I trust them. And it's so hard to trust something that really feels not real. I think that's the thing, because you're like, what is the real? What am I really buying? I can tell it's fake. So what do you think? What is it that's we're so worried about? Why are we concerned about what other people think? What is it that we even think other people think? So love to hear your thoughts on that.
That's a great question. Anytime somebody says to me, oh, I'm afraid of what other people think, I'm like, can we please talk about who these other people are? Mm-hmm. Who are these other people? Let's name them. Because if we could put a name to a face to a name, who are these other people? Let's get really clear whose opinion you're actually afraid of. Right. Yeah. For many of my clients, it's their family. It's their family. Uh-huh. It's the critical voice of their mother or father. It's their society, it's their culture. It's their religious upbringing. It's their community. Right. I grew up as a first generation Indian immigrant on Long Island, New York. The Indian culture is, women should be smart. We are smart. It really depends on which part of India you go to. I think where education is valued more. Where I'm from, education is highly valued. Financial independence is valued. But it's like, be smart, but don't rock the boat. Don't speak too much, and, only at 39, and am I really seeing that? I mean, I think I've always known this, but I'm putting like words to it, how sexually repressed also it was growing up, oh, can't be too sexy. Can't do this. We don't want to attract male attention. There's just so much that goes along with, allowing ourselves to be fully ourselves. But I would say to your listeners to get really clear on like, who are these other people that you're worried about? Who are you really afraid of? Is it mom or dad? And I say this as a retired therapist, I look at life through a psychological lens, right? For me, I don't think we're born scared. We're not born scared. We're just like we're not born inauthentic, right? Where did you learn that it's not okay, or it's scary, or it's inappropriate, or it's dangerous, or it's unsafe for you to say exactly what you want or say exactly how you feel? Where did you learn that you need to keep your mouth shut? Where did you learn that certain emotions were okay and certain emotions were not okay? That's emotional perfectionism. Where did you learn that? So you have to, I know this because as strong, powerful, independent thinkers, creatives, we love looking at kind of the root of things, right? Like where I think it's very easy to get stuck in the why of things. And I think it's important to understand your own origin story, right? But also using that to help create the story of your future self. We don't have to stay stuck in the narrative of what was given to us and what was created for us. We can create our own narrative, and we can change that narrative.
Yes, I so agree with that. And I think, as women, often we're quite emotionally sensitive to what other people think and feel. And something that I've definitely noticed, since starting this business and with some of the clients that I work with, is that we take on a lot of other people's opinions as the real thing. So we're like, oh, they say I shouldn't do this, therefore I shouldn't. Or they're telling me not to be all out there or not to show this side. But it's like, and I'd always say to them, guys, we've got to just examine, that's their opinion. They're coming at it from their perspective, from their life experience, and maybe from their own fears. And they're probably telling you out of the goodness of their heart not to do something or not to take that risk because they've got a fear around it. They couldn't imagine doing it. But that doesn't mean that you've got to be in that place where you also take on their fear as your own and then stop yourself from doing it if that's something you really want to do. And, I think that could probably extend into, being on camera, right? It's like, this whole like, well, what does it even mean? So you put yourself out on camera, so you're going to go live, you're going to do something, be you, and live is really the raw and real, right? Because wow, there might be something technically that goes wrong. Yeah, it's in the moment. You might stumble over your words, but so what if you do? Does that matter? What's the actual, what is the risk that we're perceiving that's so bad that might stop us from doing it? It's interesting.
As much as our emotional sensitivity is our blessing, it's also a curse when we don't integrate logic with it. If you're just going to say, I'm highly sensitive, I'm extremely sensitive, that's great. Please be emotional, pick up on cues, but let's not forget our minds. You have a mind too. Let's integrate both the mind and body, right? So the emotionally sensitive part of us, right? What we feel in our bodies gives us so many clues, right? But we also have a mind, and we can use our mind to understand what's going on in our bodies. And just because we feel something in our bodies doesn't mean that we should avoid doing the scary thing. In that moment, you get to reparent yourself. You get to soothe yourself. You get to give yourself the nurturing and the compassion and the firmness that you need. See, I grew up with the Indian immigrant mother. Okay. So I was raised by a woman who came here when it was very like, not odd, but it was very unusual. It wasn't very likely for a woman from India to come here. She brought her husband over, my father. They got married. And so my mother's approach with me has always been very, even at this age, at 39, she's still the most razor sharp. Her words can slice you, right? My mother, she's that direct with her feedback. There's no emotion. My father's a highly sensitive, emotional guy. So I had both sides of the coin.
Oh, wow.
I've had to learn. Yeah, I've had to learn. And I want to share this with your listeners. You know, we got to grow a thicker skin. And that doesn't mean that you're unkind to yourself and you put up with bullshit and rudeness from other people, but you got to find a way that you can talk to yourself that's actually going to work for you. Stop working against yourself, right? Tough love doesn't work for me. I'm sorry. I actually said that a little bit louder than I meant to, but like we talk about tough love for me sounds agonizing. I use a different approach with myself. I'm gentle. I'm curious with myself, and I'm motivating. I'm like, all right, let's go. We're doing this. Like there's no, it's you. So you got to learn how to talk to yourself. You have to know what works for you. Stop looking at what everyone is telling you what to do and what not to do. Spend some time in solitude and silence and ask yourself, what works for me? What is really going on here, right? The answers are all inside of you. I'm not saying don't hire coaches, mentors, but none of that. Please do all of that. I wouldn't be where I am without all the support that I have in my life. But ultimately, you got to think for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Like 100%. And, those are probably some words that I've even said something similar before as well. So I completely agree that, it's within, you actually know within what is the thing that you're most drawn to, what excites you. Like you're saying, don't just do something because someone tells you to do it. And, I say to my clients all the time, like there's a million different things that you can do. It's not about doing them all. It's not about doing the one, what's the latest shiny object that everybody's off doing. What is it that you feel most drawn to? What is it that you feel excited about doing? And really you've got the energy behind, because that's what is actually going to work for you the best, not because you're trying to cookie cutter yourself into somebody else's mold and follow the exact thing that they're doing and expect the same results that they're getting. Well, you're not a cookie. You're not made from the same dough. You're
not a cookie.
You're your own thing.
And another thing that I love saying is you're not a kitchen counter. Stop trying to be squeaky clean all the time. Like stop trying to be perfect, like a perfect kitchen counter. I always have at least one problem on my kitchen counter. It's always going to happen no matter what. But it's the same thing, right? So really spending that time with yourself to know what works for you. What kind of business do I want to run? How many clients do I want to have? How much money do I want to make per month? Like before you consume all this information, I even tell this to all my clients, anyone that I work with, I'm going to suggest what's worked for me. I'm going to customize my approach based on you. and what you're telling me.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, you are the shot caller of your life, not me. I'm not God. Don't look at me as God. Do not give me that role in your life. Don't give me that much
Yeah.
power ever. Please
Mm.
give yourself more power. Question
Mm.
everything that I say. Don't take my
Yes.
words at face value. Question me, so we can discuss it. If we want to, if I give you a piece of advice, if I suggest something, don't just say, okay, blindly say, okay, challenge me.
Yeah.
Challenge me and let's talk about it. Everything is an opportunity
Mm-hmm.
for a conversation. So you could do that with yourself. That's what I'm saying. You can challenge your own beliefs,
Mm.
right? So I have a
Mm.
book coming out spring of 2023. I just got signed with the publishing house. It was great.
Oh,
Um,
exciting.
Same publishing house that published Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now, New World Library. And the entire book, so the name of the book is called Say It Out Loud. And every chapter in the
Mm-hmm.
book is a verbal exercise. It's like an alternative guide to journaling. And
Mm.
every exercise in the book is a spoken out loud exercise, because I fundamentally believe, we give great advice to our friends. We give such good advice to our friends. If you
Yeah.
say something to me, I can easily give you that advice, because I'm not attached to it emotionally, what you're saying. So I can give you logical, sound advice. We can
Mm.
do that with ourselves, right?
Yes.
So let's just say
Mm-hmm.
you're about to get on IG Live. You're shit scared. You're like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. Okay, you know what? Forget it. I'm not going to do it. In that moment, I need you to say it out loud and be like, man, I'm really scared to get on IG Live right now, and have a dialogue with yourself. Why am I scared right now? Well, what if no one shows up? Well, it's okay. If no one shows up, you can still share it on your feed and people can watch the replay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but what if some nasty person comes on and comments? It's okay. I can put a little post-it up. I don't even have to see comments that come through, or let them. It just means I'm being more of myself. The more you are, the more you're going to get feedback, the more you're going to get haters, right?
Yes.
It's just the way it works. You are not for everybody, and that is okay. But my point in this is, I'm a firm believer. When people ask me, like, how do you build your confidence? I talk out loud to myself. I talk
Yeah.
out loud. I coach myself through any situation. And of course, I have mentors. I have my mentor he's a male mentor. First mentor, a male mentor that I've ever had. He's a former NFL player, which is our football,
Yeah.
version of football, American football. And he's a living legend. And working with him has been mind blowing, because even though I can get myself to a certain state to do the
Yeah.
things that I want to do, to work with someone who's reached an elite level athlete status is like, oh my God. So with your lesson, and even with him, I challenge him, right? What I want your listeners to really hear is that, you can be afraid and take action. The two can coexist. You don't have to wait
Yes.
for the fear to all of a sudden go away. It's never going to happen that way.
Yeah.
Never. You're going to
Mm.
be afraid and you're going to do it anyway. And
Mm-hmm.
that is exhilarating.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that is amazing. Such good advice, because what are we waiting for? Are we waiting for it all to feel perfect? Are we waiting for it to, like, oh, when I'm confident, then I'm going to go on camera? It's like, well, how do you think you actually get confident? It's by doing it. It's by doing it messy. It's by getting out there. And, I always say to them, like, we might be worried about things. So what if you mess up really bad? Guess what? You can turn it off. You can delete it. You can start afresh. And I've done that before on a live. I can't remember what happened. I think maybe my sound wasn't working. I've gone live and I was talking away and someone's helpfully commented, "We can't hear you." I'm like, okay, that's great. I feel kind of silly, but hey, I'm just going to hang it up. I'm going to not post that. It's not going to get posted on the page. Some people might have seen it live, but whatever. I'm actually just going to start afresh as if that never happened and do it again from the top. And, like, what happened? Nothing. Like, it's just,
what are
it's
these
fine.
impossible standards? Like, oh, I'm not allowed to make a mistake. Have fun with that, growing.
Yeah.
Good luck growing in your life if you're afraid of making mistakes.
Yes. Yeah.
Embrace the suck. Embrace being shitty at something. I want to share something. I just got into stand-up comedy, and I took a 6-week course in November, and I had my first 5-minute comedy showcase last year in December, just a few months ago. And I did my first open mic yesterday. So we have open mics where new comics can go and say their comedy set. So yesterday was my first open mic, and I get up on stage and I have I wouldn't call it a stuttering problem, but I have a face spasm issue. When my mind and my mouth don't work together, it's hard for me to get the word out. It's called audible inhalation. So I'm not stuttering over my words, but the words aren't coming out. I gasp for air. It was mortifying. I got up. I know my entire comedy set by heart, but I got up, said the first line, and then had this visible, audible inhalation where you can see my face spasm because the words aren't coming out. Anyway, I got through my entire set. I killed it. I did great. I mean, I have it memorized. People laughed. It was funny. And this is what we do as women, because I think your listeners will relate to this. I got done with that 5-minute set, walked to my car and started wailing like a baby in the car. And I just kept saying, I can't believe you stuttered. I can't believe you did this. And then I treated myself like shit for about 3 minutes. And I yelled at myself. And I said to myself, like, God, you're so stupid. Like, why could, and then I was like, oh my God, no, we don't talk to ourselves like this in 2022. We don't talk to ourselves like this. And so then I coached myself, and this is what I said out loud. What are you saying to yourself? You made a promise that you're going to go to this open mic. You got there an hour early. When you found out it was an hour later, you still stayed. Then you put your name down on the list. Then you got up on stage. Then you did your 5-minute set. And even though you had a stutter or a stammer, you still completed the entire thing and people laughed. My point is this with the women listening, for the women listening, you are going to screw up. You are going to mess up. You are going to look stupid. I made a whole reel, Jessica. It's on my Instagram page. And I actually showed a clip of my face spasm because I had one of my other comic friends video me, and I zoomed in on my face spasm. And I said, if I can get on stage in front of a complete group of strangers and tell a 5-minute comedy set and have a freaking face spasm in the first 5 seconds of my set and complete it, you can get on camera. You're not even in front of a live audience.
Yes.
In front of live people. It's just you are going to suck. And if you have issues with sucking and being and looking bad, you're out of luck. I don't know what to tell you. That's it. There is nothing, no amount of podcasts, no magazines, no blogs, no amount of coaching, nothing that can help you if you yourself are not open to looking like a damn fool. And it's going to happen.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's so funny. And so I think, with my students, particularly my Business Jam students, which is my program, I think what happens is, we're thinking about how we're marketing our business. We're doing the videos because we're wanting to show up. We're wanting to connect to an audience. We've got all this messaging going on in our heads of like, okay, I've got things that I can do and say. And there's so much thinking going on that I think then it switches off that ability to actually just let it roll and to speak from the heart and to kind of, and it's scary. I know you feel really awkward and you're like, oh, as soon as I feel awkward, now I'm feeling like a robot. I don't want to look like a robot. And I can do the same thing. Sometimes I'm like thinking so much about how I'm looking or how I'm sounding that I'm forgetting to actually tune into what I'm trying to say. And so I've had some tips from people that really have helped me to think more about the connection and the energy and what I'm saying as opposed to anything to do with myself. Like, get out of your own head, like actually just get into your audience, get into who you're speaking to. But what do you have some, really good, simple tips that you could share with my audience and, definitely with, my Business Jam members so that they can just start to feel like this is something I really can do. Like, I don't have to be an actor. I don't have to be, and, they think they might be introverted. Well, you don't have to be the world's biggest extrovert to get on camera. And we don't want you to be. I'm actually an
introvert, by the way. I'm actually an introvert.
Are you? Wow.
Yeah, I prefer to be alone all the time. I prefer to be alone all the time. So people think that I'm an extrovert because I'm gregarious and outspoken and would direct on camera. I'm actually an introvert. You will find me alone any day of the week. I prefer solitude to get my energy. So here are my tips. Whatever your religious or spiritual kind of outlook is, before I get on camera, before I get on stage, I always ask God to get me out of myself and provide value. So if I'm getting on stage for a comedy set, I say, God, help me make these people laugh. Let's make these people laugh tonight. Someone's in pain. Someone needs to laugh. Someone needs a good laugh. Let me make them laugh tonight. when I go on set to do commercials and stuff, it's, let's all come together and create this beautiful commercial. Let's all, you know what I mean? Because it's a huge team working together. And when I go on Instagram Live, I mean, I've said this for years. It's like, even if one person can benefit from what I'm saying, let them walk away feeling better about themselves than when they first came to watch this video. So it's, you go from being self-conscious to being, being of service, right? Because as long as it's about you can't be there for other people, because you're all about you. Get out, stop being the most important person in the room.
Yes.
You're just a vehicle. When you look at your mouth, when you look at who you are as a vessel, and you're just a channel, right? You get out of all this like ego identification about who I am and who I shouldn't be. It's like, stop. Isn't that exhausting to be all about you and what you think and what you feel all the time? How do I make a contribution to other people? How can I provide value with one person who didn't even know that I was coming for them? Right?
Yeah.
How do I stop the scroll, and how do I immediately capture someone's heart?
It's not about you. That is the key. And maybe we do need to actually sit back and take a look at ourselves and say, well, is this really the ego? Like, are we being egotistical? Like, how we're so wrapped up in ourselves, and it's all about why I can't do it, and it's all because of me. When what's the purpose of why you're in business in the first place? It wasn't for yourself, right? You're in business because you've got a passion, a calling, a skill, something that you really want to use to help other people who don't have that, or who need help. They need to learn something, whatever it is. We're all here serving others. And I love that, to think, well, I'm saying this today for that person who really needs it. Yeah. They're there. And if I can help one person with this message, then that's who I'm speaking to. And I really think that's so powerful. If we can all just focus on those words for a moment and just think, I'm not talking to a massive room full of people. I'm not talking to the internet. I'm talking to one person, the person who's there today just thinking, oh, how am I going to move forward? How am I going to get out of this mess that I'm in? I really need this help. And the message that you're bringing to them is going to give them that one step. Maybe it's a big step forward that can help them today, just to be present in that and to get there and just say it. Say it like you're talking to, a friend or someone who you've met, and you're there to help them. Yeah, I think that's so good, because it really changes from a place of thinking about ourselves and our brand and how we look and what we need to be, what everyone says we should be doing, to actually, I'm just a human helping another human. And that takes the ego right out of it, doesn't it? Because we're not there for ourselves, we're there for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is amazing. Thank you for that. That's awesome. Do you have anything else that you would share in terms of, people might say, okay, I've got a good message, but I really feel like I'm confident writing it down, but I'm not so confident putting myself on camera. So is there anything else that they might think to do?
Write out what you want to say, and then say it out loud. Practice hearing the sound of your voice. When we step into being a teacher and an authority and an expert, we may be almost like, oh man, I sound intense, or man, I sound harsh. I sound this. It's like, you think people want to work with you if you don't know what the hell you're talking about? Like, talk with some authority, and talking with authority doesn't mean you talk loudly. It doesn't mean that you yell or anything like that, or it just talk from a place of deep knowing. Like, stop questioning everything. I had a client who ended every sentence with a question mark. And I'm like, can you be a little bit more convicted in what you're saying? Like, why are you questioning? And then I had another client who was very singy-songy. So every time she spoke like this, and she talked about, and I'm like, I don't take you seriously. You sound like a little girl who's trying to be friends with everybody. These are our old patterns from childhood. What do we need to do to be more likable? Oh, we need to talk like this. And it's like, you're a whole grown ass woman. You are not a little girl, right? And it's like, we got to heal those parts of ourselves that's still in the driver's seat of our life. Every single one of us, we are chronologically a certain age and we have adult bodies, but we are still driven by this child inside of us that is waiting to be expressed We have to pay
Mm,
attention to that child inside of us, because that child inside of us, we always talk about killing off our ego. Our ego is nothing more than our wounded inner child. You don't have to kill your ego off. You have to become partners with your ego.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to become partners with you. I don't believe that the ego is bad. I don't think any part of
No.
me is bad. I will
Mm,
never say any part of me is bad. I will say that there are parts of me that need healing, that need attention, and need
mhm,
reparenting and soothing. And when I do that, instead of avoiding it, yelling at it, berating it, then we can integrate together for me to show up more fully,
yeah.
right? That way I'm not masking. I'm not trying to hide. Oh, I don't want you to see this part of me. I'm really insecure. No, I'm really insecure. I actually say that in my comedy set. I go, yeah, I'm really insecure. As confident as I am, I'm really insecure. I just own it. What can you say about me if I already own it? You can't say anything to me. If what I already know about myself, and if I own it, what can you say to
So
me?
true.
Right. So that I
Mm,
train my clients to own their flaws, own their stuff, own
yeah.
it.
I
You
think we
screwed up, own
probably
it.
already say to ourselves the worst things that anyone could probably say to
Yeah.
us, right?
Oh,
We
you can't
already
be
say them
meaner
to
to me than
ourselves. So
I've
what
been
is
mean to
anyone else
myself.
going to say?
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing you can say to me that I have not said to myself times 10.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And, something that realized as well is no one else is sitting there looking at all of the things that we are picking up as our own flaws. I might watch a video of me and I'm like, oh my God, I'm pulling strange faces, or I'm doing something
Yeah.
strange with my mouth, or I don't like how I sound. Everyone else isn't even sitting there thinking that. And I
Nobody
realized
cares.
that. And since then I've gone, that's okay. They don't see what I'm seeing. I'm seeing it with like a fine-tooth comb. I'm nitpicking at everything that's going on, and nobody else gives two hoots about it. So stop caring, and I think that, like you said, yeah, the ego, it's making peace with it. It's being like, okay, you can have those negative thoughts, but I'm actually just going to take the weight of them down. I'm gonna chop them off and be like, they're like feathers. Yes, they're there, and I acknowledge that those thoughts are there, but I'm also going to tell myself they're just inside your head and they can stay there. I'll not choose to focus on them, because what's the benefit of that? The benefit of focusing on those thoughts is nothing really. Like, we just turn ourselves into a mess, and feel like we can't get out there and do the help that we want to bring to people. So the best thing we can do is to take them down in size and weight, and make them small and insignificant thoughts, and make something else much more important. And that's really what it is, the real truth. What you're saying, how can we bring that message out with so much more conviction and the real authority behind it, because we're sharing something that we know can help. And you just think, wow, if only someone could take that and really incorporate it, really understand it today, then I've helped somebody.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Excellent. And so you've got a program that you work with people on to help them to get camera confident, don't you? Do you want to tell us a bit about that? So how long does it take, and what kind of steps do we need to go through in order to get there?
I do have a program coming up. We start March 1st. It's an 8-week coaching program. It is not the kind of program where you're going to be consuming information, because you're going to be creating. You're going to be creating, you're going to be getting on camera. We all struggle with areas in our life. Some of us need more support in certain areas than others. For me, it's always been my cooking and my fitness. So I have someone that holds me accountable in my fitness. I have someone that helps me do all my meal prep. I have a sous chef. It's the two areas of my life that I'm like, oh, whatever, I'll just eat out. It's not a big deal, So there's nothing wrong with needing that support in our life. And I would say that if you've been looking for support, hand holding, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you've been looking for hand holding for you to get on camera more consistently, right? Like, what is the thing that you're not doing consistently? Oh, I'm not planning out my content, or I need help with really structuring how I want to say certain things in my business and on camera. I need help with a little bit of camera confidence, the refinement of how I share my message. How can I be more of myself? Then that's what this group program is for. I walk you through everything, not just from obviously like creating the reels, getting on IG stories, going live. It's so much deeper than that, though, because here's my
Yeah.
philosophy. Being confident on camera is a byproduct of you building confidence in your everyday life, in your personal life, when the cameras aren't rolling. I am a
Mhm.
24/7 job, okay? Taking care of me and my soul and my spirit and my mental, emotional, physical, financial health. We are a full-time job. And if we're not
Mm.
catering to feeling our, I don't want to say best because you don't feel our best every single day, but we have our mood fluctuations. But if we're not developing that foundation within, that anchor inside of us, then yeah, you're going to wake up one day and there are going to be some days you're like, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like getting on camera. I don't feel like it. And I understand we all have our days. I get on camera
Mhm.
pretty much every day, but I really work with my clients in this intimate group program on the confidence building for each of them that's customized to them in their life. Where are they selling themselves short in their personal life? Right.
Mhm.
And then how do we couple that with what they need to be doing in their business? It's both. It's a holistic program. I can't just help you in your
Mm.
business when your personal life is a hot mess. It's just, I
No.
won't do it.
Yeah.
I will not do it. I won't, because that's actually not serving you at all. I will not give you strategy when you don't have a sense of self.
Mm. Mm.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to do that. No,
Yeah.
that's not what you. So it's a holistic program. It's application only. That's the first step. And so people can go to my website, vasavikumar.com/mastermind to apply.
Awesome. I'll link that up in the show notes.
Thank you.
For people, because I think you're so right. If you can get that confidence in yourself, then all of those things that feel hard right now can just start to feel easy, can't they? Like actually doing a reel or doing a live, instead of it feeling like you've got to climb Mount Everest, it's going to feel like it's just a walk in the park, because you've got the confidence. And learning the technology or learning how it works, that's super easy. That's like the easiest part of it. So really helping you nail that confidence on actually just getting out there and putting yourself out there. That's the hard bit, which makes everything feel hard. I love that. And if they want to connect with you, obviously you've mentioned you on Instagram. Is that your favorite social platform where
Yeah,
people can?
it is. It is. You can always
Yep.
DM me.
Mm-hmm.
You can always DM me, let me know, send me a voice note or send me a video telling me that you heard me on your podcast.
Amazing. Thank you so much. This has been such a great conversation. I'm sure we could talk for hours. I've got so many more things I think that we could touch on. But if you've got any last comments, something that you're like, oh, I really would love you to take this away, this final piece of information, what would it be? Putting you
I
on the
don't,
spot.
I don't have anything. Here's why I don't have anything. You already know what to do.
Mm.
You don't need another piece of nugget of advice from me. You don't need anything more from me. I've given you what,
That is
50
it,
minutes,
though. You know
50
what
minutes
to
of
do.
solid gold. Between you and I together, your listeners, y'all listening to this, you know what you need to do. I'm not going to treat you like you're incapable. You know what to do. Go do it.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, get some help. Join my accelerator program. It's that
Mm-hmm.
simple.
Yes. No, that's it. That's the best nugget. I think that's so clear. You know what you need to do. Let's stop avoiding it and do it. And what better time to do it than right now? We're at the start of a new year. Let's turn the page, start a new leaf, and go forwards with confidence. Love it.
Go be great. Go be great. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Yeah.
Brilliant. Oh, thank you so much. It has been such a great conversation, and we'll look forward to connecting soon.
Thank you, Jessica.
Do you know what the number one challenge reported by the women joining my Facebook community, My Tribe, said that they were struggling with their marketing in 2021, and in fact, even in 2020 as well? And that was exactly how they should reach their ideal client. How do they even get in front of them in order to build their audience in the first place? That was it. And it wasn't a pick and mix. I didn't give them that answer. It was a free text question. So they could write in there anything they wanted at all. And the number of times that I saw somebody say, how to create awareness, how to get in front of my ideal client and build my audience. So many people just challenged by it. And why is that when there's such an abundance of ways that we can get in front of the ideal client? And I think it's probably that is exactly it. It's so overwhelming, isn't it? What should you do? What should you choose? What are the best ways? Whatever it is that you're doing right now might not be working. And I think it's a great time to sit back, reflect, and figure out what's the right way for you to do it. What are the ways that you're going to reach your prospective clients in 2022? So if that sounds like you, if that might have been what you wrote down in the questions on what is your biggest challenge with your marketing currently, then you're going to absolutely love the new freebie that I've just put together for you. It's called 12 Brilliant Ways to Reach Your Ideal Client. And in it, I share with you the 12, in my view, 12 top ways that you could use in your marketing plan this year to reach a bigger, broader audience in order to attract those ideal clients in to your inner circle, into your, really well-defined audience and become real leads for you. So if you'd like to get your hands on this brand new freebie, then all you need to do is go to jessicaosborne.com/12 ways. So it's 12 ways. Very easy. You can download it there, and this is a little bit of a great resource for your planning, for the planning of the new year. See what you're going to change up. What is it that you maybe haven't been doing that you could be doing? And what are those things that you've been doing and they're not very effective, and maybe you're going to drop them out of your plan this year? So please head over, grab the freebie. If you want the link, that it's in the show notes, and let's get you moving on up, having more success with your marketing in 2022.